'Cause you are a strong man. Yes, you are a strong man. Because you are a strong man. Strong
Hello everyone, we are starting off the day right into the first game. So, hello Rifkin, quick sound check.
Hello, Samigo. How's it going?
Okay, it all works, it's great then. So, yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. Start off the day strong and fast, basically. Right into Ryerson versus Toronto, and on the bottom left, as the Blue Terran, playing for Ryerson, he's Masa.
Gotta be the favorite in this matchup for a lot of different reasons. We'll cover that in a moment. His opponent in the top left is gonna be the Red Protoss Luxanka.
Something like that, I guess.
Totally just realized I can't ride your camera. Poo, boo hoo.
What
What is Luxanka's decal though?
like,
Chairman Meow type thing going on here? Like, what's happening?
maybe. I have no idea.
All right. So before we get into anything, because there are some things I guess to discuss on the stream, Masa is actually over in Poland currently, playing for IM Katowice. Now, not only did he qualify for that, he won his North American Ting group that we've been casting, and on the utmost, like, professional, the toughest level of Starcraft, in the absolute, like, rigmarole that is the base trade TV tournament circuit, Masa's been looking really good. So, I have no comments to speak of negatively or poorly for Anki over here, but it does feel to me like just Masa's win rate kind of dictates he'll probably win this game.
Yeah, it'd be a very impressive game if our Protoss player actually ended up winning. Now, Moss actually goes for a 1-rax expand, which looks a little odd. No gas, no Reaper at a second supply depot to wall in the probe. Just looks a little weird. And is, I guess... Oh, whoopsie. That is the, there we go. But yeah,
Oopsie poops.
I don't know, it just made me feeling really confident against his opponents, or maybe just experimenting with new builds against Protoss. Sometimes the Reaper does feel really, really worthless, especially if you get an SCV inside without being noticed.
We've also, well, first off, yeah, the Reaper and the SCV can exchange roles here through scouting, but the kind of cool thing is Masa, I believe that was Masa, unless I'm misremembering here, he was also doing some really weird pushes, right? Where he was just going out of his base early with several Marines and just, I think it was versus Zerg more than Protoss, but...
Yeah, I kind of remember what you're talking about.
Like,
Yes,
it didn't feel like there was a specific build, but he was looking for early timings, where there'd be like barely a mothership core and an adept out. So those sort of aggressive moves we've been seeing a little bit more commonly out of him. Is he going to do that here? It's far too early to say, but I am curious to see if he's going to be willing to pull that out. Because Arena has a very small rush distance, and with 3 racks is down this quick, you could argue this is simply defensive. This is your standard follow-up to a command center if you're worried about oracles and other things getting in your face.
Well, the Mothership Core is going to come across here. Again, this SCV has gone unscouted, but also hasn't scouted itself, so it feels a little... there we go. There, it's going to see the Stargate, so that's pretty important. Definitely enough Marines to take on the Mothership Core, though. She got a scout, but honestly, with the opening that the probe saw, you actually would know what this was if you played, well... if you played Starcraft before Reapers are actually, or I guess, really good. So before Heart of the Swarm, this was the build to do. Gasless Expand.
Well, the Mothership Core Gonna maybe get a kill here. It's kind of hard to just utilize in general. I'm surprised Anki's actually playing so cavalier with it. Losing this could be devastating, and he is gonna snipe it.
Yeah, and then the Oracle comes in, but the Marines have just been, they've been taking it right back here. I mean, the Adept is doing a great job distracting until the Militia Corps came and ruined the Oracle's plan. Now, luckily, he was a lot more attentive to the Oracle, and it only takes shield damage. It's not even that important, but the point is, like, it was supposed to get a lot of, SCV kills, and now it's not going to get much of any. The game does go on. Moss is actually bothering to get a bunker and a little bit of a wall off. No, Oracle! Oof, that was close. So maybe he's scared of a push, but his SCV is still in the base. So
yeah, there's that factor where it's not even that this is scouting per se, it's the fact that Enki hasn't dealt with it. And a big part of that is he hasn't had units to deal with it. And that alone gives Masa a ton of information regarding the situation. So this push with Marines, it's without a medevac, it's without tank support, and that's fine because when he pushes, there's only going to be two things standing there waiting for him, a mothership core and a photon overcharge.
Comes in before the missile turret's done, but doesn't target fire the SCV. There he goes.
Look at this sim timing though for this weird push coming down the middle of the map.
It's pretty darn close here. A couple of seconds left over. Gets
Probably
on top of the pylon.
Oh yeah.
He recharges charges the other pylon, figuring that one is gonna die quickly. I suppose not a bad idea. The Oracle was cleaned up. Maybe.
Yeah, that's awkward. I think the stutter step misclick. He's falling apart now, Zombie. This is Anki's opening. He can get in here. He can do some damage. Monster targeting his own units one by accident, but no, I'm just kidding. This is over.
Yeah, and the Militia Corps almost has enough energy for another Proton overcharge. The probes are being sacrificed here, and I guess they're eventually going to be able to clean up the Marines, but at the cost of a lot of their lives. Certainly made up for that Oracle damage.
Is this where I open up a notepad really quick and write down Rifkin called it, so I can rub it in people's faces later?
Yes, that's exactly what you do. Maybe not. This wasn't such an impressive call, I gotta say.
Oh,
maybe
rude.
wait for another one.
Anyways, Masa though, he got a ton of kills, but as we know, the worker count's not too different. And normally you're going to see a Terran player have just that much bigger supply coming off of it because of how easy it is to produce Marines. But please note, it took him a while to get his reactors up. He had focused on a tech lab instead to get STEM done sooner. And the starport was delayed. So Masa right now doesn't look that impressive, but he's going to have +1. He's going to have combat shields and he'll have medevacs for the next attack. And Anki, however you say his name, looks Anki. He's fighting with real bare bones units here. Like going for resonating glaives. Not so preferable in this situation. The Oracle, there's no +1, there's no blink coming up behind it. Like, this is a pretty rough situation for Protoss.
Yeah, it is. You don't really ever want to be in the same worker count as your opponents. He's trying to get back up there. He's rebuilt the probes, but as Moss's technology was finishing, he was missing medevacs with that first push, and now he's got it. That and almost combat shields. He's going to try to fire that mothership.
There was, Naniwa really made this obvious and apparent to us, how good +1 weapons is instead of resonating glaives when it comes to fighting Marines and SCVs early on. The funny thing is, though, now that there's combat shields in play, the resonating glaives are in fact better, but it's still just not going to be enough to keep him alive.
He's trying to just catch the medevacs before they drop, which is the best case scenario. But that's that's only not even 2 drops. It's half of 1 drop. The rest of the army is bulking it back at home because he saw the War Prism, of course. And you got to be scared of that. You got to respect it, even if you think you're going to win the game at the end. And he's actually getting a Viking to try and deal with that. Upgrades will be evened up here as the Protoss's +1 finishes, but not for a while. Resonant Glaives will help, but not really be able to make up for that army supply difference, which is now half that of Masa. And he's having to use all his reinforcements back at home, so the Warp Prism feels a little useless.
Widow Mines have no reply.
Oh no, that was a good hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Widow Mines have no reply. Picks up just to get away from the overcharge. He's going to unload again here at the top ramp. Once again, it's a lot of Marines with stim against Adepts that don't have any upgrades. Actually, I take that back. Resonating Glaives did finish, but referring, of course, to weapons more than anything else. Now, Masa, it's funny. He's got a bad case of the trying to end it too quickly, so that's why he's not getting this one gigantic death push. Because he keeps coming with just barely not enough units to go for a killing blow. But it's enough to keep his opponent severely at bay. So he's going to eventually win this, because again, look at that army supply, right? It's constantly building up higher and higher and higher. Whereas if he had maybe consolidated the second and the third attack instead of doing 2 separate ones, that could have just been like the death push there. Either way, he's still not in a bad spot by any stretch.
He's always, I think, been afraid of this Warp Prism, too. Like, he knows it's there, but now he's just saying, my reinforcements can take care of it, not really on a lot of production, so let's bring most of my army forward. Little supply blocked, fortunately, for Masa, but doesn't really need a lot of supply here.
As you say, he's already up in the supply by a fairly significant amount. Depths are going to get picked off, and that's kind of it for the army. I don't know where the rest of the supply is. There's an Immortal at the top of the ramp. And I guess a small warp-in was taken to the other side of the map, but this does not do enough damage inside the natural base with Masa. GG.
GG. Alright. Let's take that off. There we are. So, hello. We're going to very quickly get into the next game, because we can. That will put Ryerson up 1-0. Of course, I think that is expected when you have a player like Masa on your team. They probably actually take that win for granted a little bit. That's why the format is what it is in the CSL. See, they try not to have that one guy that can just, basically 3-0 and then leave and say, see you later. You do have the rules here where they can't play more than twice, that's for certain. So they can play 1v1 and like a 2v2, but then they can't play the ace match. And I believe you can't play the two 1v1s, so that's why we see new people in this next game, which we'll be going into right now. It is Ruins.
The ace match.
Hey, because one of the guys' name is Ace. I get it. Okay. And here we go. Now, we talked about, like, Masa, of course, being at IAM, so these first two are replays, so just get that out there, no lies here, but the third match will not be, so the 2v2, we'll be getting into that right after this, however this turns out. We have another match. It's going to be a TVT this time, and in the bottom right, as the Red Terran, he is 0, playing for Toronto.
So, Masa. Team Masa is red.
No. Masa plays for Ryerson.
Wait, you're right. Okay, my mistake. I heard Toronto. I was like, oh, that's where he lives. Okay, Isabel in the top right. We've definitely cast this guy before. I remember saying his name really funny. It is the Teal Terran Ace.
Yeah. Okay, so TVT. While this TVT actually gets set up and ready to go, might have a difference of, build slightly here, but not too exciting for another couple of minutes. We didn't really go over what the CSL, is, and that's actually pretty okay considering that no one was ever really here in the beginning of a stream. You guys still trickling in. So the CSL, if you're interested in it, go to cstarleague.com to learn more. They do other games, and they're pretty cool. It's a pretty cool initiative. Of course, you have others doing the same thing too, but this was actually one of the originals, if not the original. It's been around for a very long time. So if you're interested in getting a college team together for next year, as of course this year's already set up, then definitely check it out. You'll also have a giveaway that you'll see on the break screens for a laptop, so make sure to look at that. Go to their website once again, and just in general, check it out.
Fun fact, did you know that the Twitter is wrong on the CSL page?
I did not know that.
So, shout out to anyone who's monitoring the Twitch page. The info down below is needing to be updated.
Maybe change a little bit. Yeah. We do have a 1-base build versus a 2-base build here. Now, Zero did something very safe and went for that high ground command center, which, is arguable that you really ever have to, but there are, of course, situations where it's just going to be cleaner, as opposed to, the SCV killing the SCV, or having to deal with that low ground at all, where you might eventually have to lift up anyways. If, for instance, if AS was going for one of these 1-bases that just went for a direct push up to your natural main.
Reapers and Hellions have actually been ending games in the pro circuit quite a lot lately.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of very abrupt, very disappointing ends to lives.
Yeah, that's for sure. But it's not that, actually, and he will be going for Banshees, I guess? No, he's getting a tank from that factory. So it's really, you have to be quite hesitant to call tank drops when there's only going to be one tank available for some time, and that's going to be the case on one base. Because one tank drop doesn't really do a whole lot. 2 tank drops, it can be good, and actually it can be really great sometimes, and a double tank drop with a number of Marines actually is a great build, but will take some time to get up to. And it's actually just looking to be like a push to the front with Liberator 2. This is not a 1-1-1 we've seen, I don't believe.
I mean, Liberators have been finding their weird way into the matchup. Not to call anyone here unskilled, but we have seen unskilled players actually just flop and be like, "What do I do? What is this unit?" It's been around for a while, but I still haven't figured it out, right? So in TVT, while a lot less common, the other aspect of it that's really awesome is it can help you really push your front line. Like if AS wants to get
Yeah.
up there, siege outside the main ramp, you put the Liberator down so your opponent can't zone tanks anywhere that would be threatening to you, even if they're dropping them. It can go a lot of
Yeah.
very beneficial ways.
I can certainly see where it'd be helpful for any, direct push, but we've just been seeing the Liberator follow up to actually the Reaper Hellion build that we were talking about a lot on Lairlet Crest. Seems like a very map specific, but to see this combination of units on one base is a little unique and not seen as much, but I can see how it could, it's not a lot, but it could definitely latch itself into a good position, covering that ramp, and Zero could have a lot of trouble dealing with it. Oh, that's odd. Gonna kill a SCV. Cancel that bunker.
Okay. Tank, of course, set up here pretty nicely. A little bit scary here for Zero, as he doesn't really have the ability to stim in necessarily and take on those tanks. Liberator, if AS wants to set it up, can zone out that tank. Marine's going to try and go for the bait, but the tank actually just finishes it off. So now kind of losing control of the natural. Keep in mind, though, AS's command center is only just coming down, so he's not actually ahead despite this damage yet. He has to do quite a significant bit more.
Yeah. Maybe Zero should have saved the other tank with a full SCV surround, but he's trying to keep calm, level head. He's still mining, there's quite a bit of space in the natural of ruins here. And he's got a Viking to try and deal with those Liberators. So one Liberator is gonna go, oh my goodness, barely go down.
Did
Four
you forget
Vikings
how
gonna go
fast they
down.
are?
They are pretty speedy. Yeah, that is true. But everything on the ground is cleaned up, and he did manage to save this tank. So really not a bad hold. In fact, I'd say it was pretty damn good. He's up
Yeah, 'cause-
13 workers, never had to lift his command center.
Right, I mean, that looks scary at a glance because it looked like so much damage was incoming, but it was the fact that he was a whole base ahead that entire time. Like, he had everything in the natural to lose just to even up the game.
Yeah. And he didn't lose anything. So, I don't know. IAS is going to have quite a game to come back from. There certainly can be mistakes made from Zero in this game, or, for instance, maybe AS plays a much longer game, went for a third CC a lot quicker, but so far he's not chosen that path. Adds on 2 more barracks and continually making those tanks. We do see a single tank drop. Again, this doesn't really usually do a whole lot, but it can just be a thorn in the side of your opponent. If you have nothing else going on, it's also just, it's good use of your micro if you got it.
Use it before you lose it, right?
Yeah, lose it.
Something like that.
Use it before you turn like 40 and don't have APM anymore.
Whoa.
Be clicking
man.
on the keyboard like one finger at a time.
It's like you got the trackpad mouse out ready to go.
Oh god.
That would be like the biggest handicap, I think, trying to play Starcraft on something like that.
I don't know. Dominic would have played with chopsticks, so.
Yeah, but that was like, that's not very good, man. Come on.
And he won too. Yeah. I realized that they discontinued that series because no one was watching it, but I was watching it.
I was there.
I loved it.
Me, zombie bro.
And it's really Korea only where I mean, maybe Europe, but even then, it's obviously more spread out. But Korea is the only place where you could get those stupid things to be in person. Having
Yeah.
Masa get chopsticks and play and maybe get like a webcam on him is like fun and all, but it wouldn't have the same effect.
So right now, the worker count is at a pretty stark difference.
Of course, we don't have the income advantage graph because we're not using our mod,
Oh.
but
I have awesome news about that. We may have fixed the problem that made it so it would break on vision.
oh great! I thought that was something you had no idea why it was happening.
Well, it was, and then we found out an idea as to why it may have been happening. So we actually are going to, I think, tomorrow have a version to test. Not for the IEM test, obviously, but it'll be nifty.
Well, we do have the setup here. Now, it's a lot of tanks available for AS, and of course he has those Liberators, which, aren't actually that great anti-air. They'd actually take a long time to take down these medevacs, as long as they aren't clumped together. But it's still, like, the tank line is too much for Zero to say, I want to push into that. Even though he might have been able to, especially if he had waited for Stim, he would have had that upgrade. Although by then AS would have had combat shields. I don't know. He's also a little bit decisive, maybe. Oh, there we go. But he has a third base on the way, so even if he doesn't push in now, he still has a lead. He's still gonna have a lead 2 and 3 minutes from now. AS, I really feel like the better choice is going to be to go for that faster third CC and then hope the game played out a lot longer, because he's not catching up to Zero's army supply despite not getting that third CC. And he is trying to get like an armory, which makes this feel like a borderline all in, and it's just, you know, if you're gonna all in, you gotta go like, you know, full, right? And you don't just try and get some upgrades behind it too. Especially because he doesn't even have armor, so why would he start the armory?
Thor production, obviously.
Thor production.
Use your brain,
sure.
girl. Jesus.
Sure.
All right. This army coming from Zero though is quite good looking. So if I recall, it's 1-0 in the favor of AS's side, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So this fight is actually gonna be pretty hard to deal with, I feel. There's just really not a lot of his own tanks to fight with. His upgrades are ahead by the +1, so he'll have that going for his Marines at least. But even the tank drop haters out there, it's not going to really matter. Tank drops aside, it's just a lot of tanks coming into this fight.
It will matter if he places the tanks in front of the Marines, which we've seen a lot of people do, even the pros. But he doesn't. He plays very safe with them.
Well, this is looking good for Zero. Takes a good start to the fight by killing a tank, then gives away a handful of Marines. Trying to find range outside the siege tanks, just not happening. And these unfortunate boys getting just shelled and mortared away from very far. And this attack has found itself now in a bit of an awkward corner. If he wants to evacuate all the Marines, he'll probably have to yield a tank or two. The Liberators can start inching forward here as well and possibly dealing with those tanks.
Yeah, I was wondering why his Vikings weren't, you know? He had to use a scan to keep sight on his opponent, just like his opponent was.
It may have been fear of another drop coming behind it, so that's why hesitant to bring him to the front lines. But Zero does start pushing through, and he's not holding too poorly here, but still, just that supply difference, that third base difference, there's just so much macro going on behind this for Zero. Whereas AS is focused solely and entirely right here in this natural.
Yeah. If only he had that Thor production.
Look, you joke, right? But hang on, hear me out. Thors have range. They got dick for damage, but maybe the meta... No, I got no way to defend them. Thors are terrible units.
Bye-bye, Command Center.
See you out that door, baby. Bye, 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 bye.
That's gonna be game. He is gonna stick to the last, but soon enough Zero will be able to just unsiege his tanks. Well, you don't have to. Of course, you can just pick up the medevacs. Either way.
He's got an army to fight with, so I understand thinking to stay in this, but we look at the supplies, we can obviously see what he can't, and it's just way too much. And you know, I think the worst thing for A is checking on this, he didn't actually see the third base, so he doesn't know that he's an entire base behind. Or well, two bases behind now, excuse me.
Yeah, I guess there's something to be said about that. Usually you'd see like the desperate scan at the last second, realizing what their situation is, but yeah, I don't know. He's down in upgrades now, and this should look like enough Marines with a good enough concave that, like, you know, I don't know, Polt would have definitely stemmed in by now to end the game, but Zero being a little more careful. I think he's quite wary of these two Vikings. He has so many medevacs, though, like, they would definitely not be able to kill all the medevacs before he gets him in, and he does end up unsieging his tanks to do this. Either way.
Well,
GG?
GG. This means we will be going to the 2v2 match, for those who don't know.
Yes, the 2v2, and then the Archon is now guaranteed, because it is 1-1.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, there were some questions about having done this through replays and having to pre-record some stuff. Not here for the cast, but for the actual games, just how that would go.
Mm-hmm. What the... Oh. That was weird. It, when I pressed the multiplayer tab, it did the thing where it, like, changes the version of Starcraft, so it put, like, the blocker up, and I was like, I didn't... What the
Awkward.
hell? Our 2v2 player isn't here yet. If it's not possible to play Archon, then 2v2. We will forfeit 2v2.
God forbid we play things in order. I mean, it's fair because you'd have to play it either way, but it's kind of like...
Yes, well...
Things to be said.
Yeah, we may disagree, but I think at the end of the day, CSL really just wants their games to be played in general, as opposed to being really strict on the rules, shall we say. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with switching that up, and they don't. Okay, so Change it back to 1v1. I'm definitely going to forget the 2v2 overlay for the next one.
Hang on, I just checked something amazing, by the way.
What's up?
So, one of the people I follow on Twitter tweeted that there's an error with their Twitch account where it shows that they have 10,051 subscribers. Because it's a brand new dashboard, for those who don't know. They changed that today for Twitch. It's brand new. So I was curious like what ours looked like. Yep, but you know, it says we have like 8,000 subscribers.
Nailed it! We really just blew past that 900.
I gotta tweet this out. It's too funny.
Okay, so this is always so difficult to get together. First of all, put in an Archon, that'll help. And then Aes and Worst are Terran Archon. Okay, so they go together. There's the ones that responded. Way to go, guys. A+. And then Atlas and Nyx Slash, who did not respond, and therefore get an F.
And an F in communications.
Yep. If I was grading the Starcraft 2 class, they'd get a D, because I would feel really bad about actually failing them.
So you want to give them all the D?
That's weird. It's questionable. Not
Well, I
gonna
mean,
go
it's
down that.
literally what you were saying, so I just wanted to confirm
D
because it was
plus.
a little bit strange.
A D+.
Oh. So no small D's here, just big ones. Got it.
We're missing Atlas. Atlas, please!
Yeah, come on, dude, come get your D. Get in here. Well, actually, it's gonna be downgraded to like an F soon.
It really is. Seriously.
You know how?
Alright.
Okay, so you know how in like the more Asia ranking things, it's like okay, there's like A, B, C, D, but there's also like S and then SS, and then like SSSS plus and all that for rankings.
Sure.
Okay, this guy's about to get like an F, then another F, then an S rank.
Let's see. Isn't like S, like, yeah, the best?
Yeah, but it makes FFS. So
Uh-huh.
for fuck's sake, get
Yeah.
in here. See what I did there? I was clever.
You
I
were.
was so
You
clever.
really were.
And then you dismissed it. It made me feel bad.
I don't know. I just didn't dismiss it. Just making sure I understood the joke.
Okay, so it is Archon mode, correct? Yes. And
Yes.
this means that we are still going to play the 2v2. It's just going to come after. Now,
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I'm still enjoying this Twitch bug sub count because I just refreshed it. Now we have 11,000 subscribers. I don't.
maybe we'll get paid for that too. Let's hope there's a real bug.
Who
Okay.
wants me to buy them plane tickets?
That would be so much money. Damn.
Right? Like
Things to shoot for. Dreams.
dreams. Get rich. Get paid.
So we are no longer in the replays, guys. These are actually happening live, so yay! And the next one should be happening live too. And,
We did it, esports. We saved it.
we'll worry about the ace match if it comes to it. So on the top right, as the blue Terran Archon for Ryerson, it is once again Aes, and then his partner is Worst.
Yeah, but they're both on Clan AS. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Their opponents, with the scores tied up 1-1 apiece, it is going to be a combination of Atlas and the next Slash.
I remember Aes because that was really convenient. I could just look for their clan tags when I paired them up together.
Yeah, it's nice when people do stuff like that.
Yeah, it
great.
really is. So the 2v2 actually is also where we'll see Worst and also where we'll see Atlas, funnily enough. So,
Let's hope Atlas is not the worst.
hey ho, hey.
Haha. Hoo-hoo, hee-hee, haha.
Yeah. The next series, if anyone is interested, that should be starting in about half an hour, if everything goes according to plan, is Utah versus San Diego. The scores here are, my god, Ryerson is probably guaranteed in the playoffs by now. They are 5-0.
Yeah, there's them and Xenocider and Intense's team are doing well, aren't they?
You know, there is one team that had one or two pro gamers that wasn't doing that well though, and I don't think that was Masa and Intense. So, but I know there was some other team where we were just like, oh, they might be doing well, right? And then we looked at their score and it was like 2-2 or something. And I was like, oh.
Oh, I guess not.
Yeah. Can't remember who, though. We do have a couple of people that we recognize, you know, like Intense, Xenocider, Masa, Bales, and one person I'm definitely forgetting, but yeah, just all college kids. It's the best NA has to offer. Hey!
So, okay, finally, Jesus. I was trying to save and quit out of the game I was playing prior to this, but we jumped into the game so fast I just had it on pause in the background, so during the lobby I quickly like shuffled my butt home to save and quit. I've been playing Stardew Valley and it is so wonderfully addicting. It is did you ever play Harvest Moon?
Hell yeah.
It is basically a game that is entirely like it was so very heavily influenced by Harvest Moon that it is almost basically like New Harvest Moon mixed with like I don't know, like Terraria or something. It's pretty addicting.
Maybe I'll play it. I only really played about 2 Harvest Moon though. I played probably the SCV died. Probably I think the most famous one, but like hell if I can remember what console it was even on. But I just remember that like there was 3 chicks, right, to choose from. So this is before any of them were like you could choose to be male or female. And there was like the dumb blonde, the tomboy, and like the emo chick. And I remember I actually went for the dumb blonde because she was sweet. And the way that you actually end up like courting her is by reading her diary. You go into
By being
like
a creep.
you go into like her attic and you read her diary so you can figure out what's what. Yep. And I married that chick. Hey.
You made the hell out of that girl. I always complained about Ellie, right? She would always drop my eggs all the time, and
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
she's like the baker's daughter or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, the adept from this side of the map tries to get in and look and see what's going on. Unfortunately, can't do the wall, and the Hellions even drive it back. But back at home, you know, not doing nothing. Throwing down a ton of gateways.
Yeah. A couple of Widow Mines will scare these units off, but I'm really quite scared for worse Cineas, you know? Like, they don't have a lot of units, and the units that they have, you got 2 that are just one-hit wonders. Yeah. And then you have 2 that, I mean, like, Hellions, I guess, could be technically okay, but not exactly super great. And actually, some of the army is going to be going away. So it might scout the, you know, 6 gate all in that's on the way. Or it might just get there a little too late by the time they realize what's happening. They're already being overrun. We'll see. The Warp Prism's over here, Medevac's over here. Which one will get to the base first?
Well, I think the medevac obviously doesn't have the same potential that a warp prism does to snowball, just based on the mechanics of warping in directly on those front lines. But it's still going to be dangerous. Like, he has to deal with it now. The medevac comes in, sure, 2 widow mines, that could be cool. But as you said, one-shot wonders. On the other side of the map, defensively, a couple widow mines brought out for AS and worse, and really important that those widow mines go off on the adepts. Meanwhile, as you're pointing out, the attack does commence here in the Protoss natural, but these adepts, they skirt past those widow mines. There's not a lot to fight with here.
Now, if the Adepts line up, I mean, the Hellions can do okay here, but they're just not what you really want against Adepts. I guess there's still a lot of commotion going on. I've been clicking on the Widow Mine to see if they're getting any extra hits, but it's actually been about the Marines just running around town. Looks like the Medevac did get away after dropping off those Marines, but a lot of SCVs are now going down to the natural. You see the kill count here.
Now, while this hasn't been tidied up yet, okay, he's actually going to lose some more SCVs. Awkward. I was going to say, I like the idea of putting the bunkers down as an attempt to hide somewhere safe, but it is not working. Nothing's in range, and the SCV's trying to mine through this, meaning that they're not huddled around the safety of those bunkers.
Some of these SCVs not even mining, actually. Yeah, I don't know why Protoss is stopping the flood here. I guess maybe just scared of the Widow Mines. They don't actually remember where they were or something like that, but not warping in. I guess they did have to deal with everything back at home, which has finally all been cleaned up, by the way. Widow Mines included, and a 3rd base is now on the way, too. Trying to get up to Storm is a little odd to see it this quickly. No Forge yet. And now some sick micro from the Warp Prism.
Yeah, I gotta give it to the Protoss. Like, this Warp Prism wasn't just like a set it and forget it. Whoa, oh, getting a big hit there.
Close.
Set it, forget it, just warp in endless adepts and win the game. But through control, through the adept transfers, through constantly catching their opponents outside of their defenses. I mean, there's Widowmines there, there's bunkers down. There's a lot of ways that this shouldn't have done the damage it's done. But it is getting a little out of hand now. SCV's getting pulled into it. Uh-oh.
He really wants to get that War Prism. The Marines should definitely try and get that. And they're just barely not going to.
And
now
in the process,
Adepts...
the second micro player just focusing on the SCVs in that mineral line. So one gets the Warp Prism out, the other works this. It's called teamwork, baby. And this is down to 19 SCVs.
Yeah, this is probably going to be game over for our Terran players. But hey, Stim and Medivacs could do a lot of damage in return. Just that Stim is so far off. They really got a late start on that. Their opener was a little odd. And I think it was something that you definitely could have done a lot of damage to someone who was macroing. And then relentless aggression would have been the key if they were trying to get to a third base. But they were facing someone who was trying to all-in them, and their attack wasn't set up well against the all-in. Oh, whoopsie. The Warp Prism just barely alive as it regains some shields, so it's being bold and picking up the rest of the Adepts. It being still alive means that it's worse, and AS really cannot move outside of their base too comfortably ever. And this is just not a good game for them. So they are representing Toronto, as we've already said, or Ryerson, sorry. But Toronto, they don't have a bad score. At 3-2, I think if they win, especially against someone as esteemed as Ryerson, that would be quite a big leap for them going into potentially the playoffs. But I'm not sure on that math. It'd certainly be a great, confidence booster.
This is actually some really funny micro going on between both players here. Obviously, one person on each team dedicating to this allows this to happen, but dropping and picking up is like do loop-de-loops around one another. The Adepts do still manage to proceed to kill a couple of Widowmines through that. Now, as they get back to the mineral lines, not all the SCVs are going to be safe. I don't think a lot more are going to go down, but again, it's keeping the blue team at home. Not that purple needs to. They've actually got a considerable army count back at home. Like, normally the situation dictates you dedicate so much to this Warp Prism, a counterattack could kill you because you have nothing at home. But that's actually not the case. Team Purple here has actually got quite the army. They've got upgrades coming out as well, and they're just looking fantastic coming off the back end of this.
If you check the income graphs now, and you just see that it's been purple this entire time. I mean, check out these numbers off to the left, of course, as well, and just they've been quite far ahead for some time. That's combination SCVs actually being killed, and SCVs actually just straight up not mining, being pulled away. Combat shields isn't done. This double drop, it would really have to focus fire and get some key kills, and even then, you'd have to worry about poking the bear and just making your Protoss opponents send their army out against you, basically. So they're in a tough spot for sure. Warp Prism still alive is always just so hard to deal with. A couple of Stalkers have been here on patrol since the first Widowmine drop. Oddly enough, that pylon actually helps here. Make sure not to Tartosis pylon. Way to go. Tasteless backup, as they would say.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
when are we gonna get like a base trade TV unit? I guess we'd have to. I know Ryerson has it, and that's unfortunate, but again, there's the alive missile turrets, the Artosis pylons. Like, where's the zombie gun marine handling or something?
Because my marine handling isn't that bad. Do you want to be named or something that's terrible?
It doesn't have to be terrible, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, the alive turrets look terrible, but they're actually great.
I feel like you're usually not even of consequence most of the time, so I wouldn't even say great. I don't know, man. I can't. I mean, there was the Marine King splits, but I don't know, not anymore. Now it's just a good Terran splits. Am I right?
You mean Liberators?
Cool. Using Storm and Widowmine's never really ideal, but
no, especially when they're using like 7. Like, this is blowing my mind. Why are they wasting so?
They can see it too with the Observer, so they just put Stalkers on the low ground. But
I feel like there's a bit of just overconfidence here, where they're saying, "Look, we actually don't need the storms." It's almost borderline BM,
Yeah, almost. Don't want to lead with the High Templars, even if you think you're gonna win. And the ramp's always dangerous, but army supply's pretty in favor of Protoss. They got a 4th base. They're gonna have upgrades. They have +2 already. Oh, the storms and that clumped up Terran army. Just push in. Push!
I mean, this is actually, understandably so, a difficult position to push in from, especially with those Widowmines there, but they do break this. That storm, ooh. Oh, God, zombie, gotta make it stop.
GG!
GG. So with the 2v2 going here in the favor of
Archon.
Ryerson, question mark?
Toronto. You got everything wrong in that sentence.
I actually don't. I don't have the graphics tonight, guys. Like, it's not. It's not anyone else's fault. It's mine. I just didn't download them before this cast, so I'm playing a lot of guesswork here. But, just trying to keep up with who's on which team.
Who's on second? And that was the Archon. So now we're gonna go into the 2v2. Let's get your overlays ready.
Right, and the 2v2 matches are really interesting. I actually, if I'm going to be 100% honest on the table about this, guys, I don't expect a lot out of the other ones. Not to say that they're going to be bad or anything like that, but we just, we always have the most fun with 2v2s. They're always the most exciting because all things like skill and meta are thrown out the window. Our combo, you still kind of have to adhere to the way the game plays. But 2v2s, you can just be like, nope, screw it. It's different here. We can all just gang up on one guy.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to break your heart there.
Damn
all
it.
hype about 2v2. But they did do it out of order because their 2v2 guy wasn't there, and I guess he's still not. So they are just going to have to forfeit, which will leave them at a loss here. So Ryerson will take their first loss of the series, despite having the heavy hitter Masa on their team. And Toronto will go up to a 4-2 score, which is not so bad.
I feel like Masa is in Poland right now, and he's going to come home and see this and be like, God damn it, guys, I leave for one tournament. I leave for one tournament.
Probably. Yeah, there would have been an ace match of Masa for sure. But yeah. Not this time. It's GG. We're going to be going into the second series. Now it's 10:40, and it's supposed to start at around 11, so we might be waiting for some time.
Yeah, we're ahead of schedule, especially with the forfeit.
Yeah. So the next series is going to be Utah Valley versus UC San Diego. Utah not looking so great at all at 1-4. I mean, if they lose this, they might just seriously be out of the running for the playoffs. But UC San Diego at 3-2 might have some hope here. And, well, I guess we'll continue to talk more about the CSL when we return. Hopefully not too long from now. We can actually get started a little bit sooner, as of course we have to cast in 8 hours. 7 hours? 8 hours.
Yeah, I
7.
am hype.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, I am. It's pretty cool. So we're gonna go to a break, listen to some chill music, watch the look at the giveaway actually, which will be popping up on screen, occasionally, and definitely check it out. It's just to simply make a video with your college team, and your college CSL team. That is, don't make a video of like your football team. And it can be anything: a cast, a highlight reel, something cool, something spectacular, and you could win a really sick laptop or a monitor. So. Check it out. See you guys when we return. No, we're good. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, close to crashing. Okay, you're back.